G'day guys and welcome to the Iron Empire. This time we take a walk around Andy's compound. Okay guys, so you would have seen over the past a few of Andrea's cars on the channel briefly. Obviously the UC Torana is the main one, which we're doing an extensive rebuild on that car. You would have seen her Mustang, maybe her ZL Fairlane. There's a few, but she's just like me, maybe even worse. She's got a lot of cars. So we're gonna take a quick look around her family home at some of the cars she's been collecting over the years. All right, so behind me, as you can see from the get-go, we've got this XC Fairmont looking awful. This is a factory steel blue, which is the same color as my old F truck, which Jake now owns. Awesome factory Ford color, and it has the dusk perforated Fairmont interior. It's a factory 250 crossflow with power steering and air conditioning, and it's a Fairmont. So we're gonna do the bodywork on this, respray this car, and get it looking good. But obviously at the moment, it's awaiting its turn in the corner here, looking pretty bloody bad. We're gonna have a quick look outside. Now it is windy, so bear with me guys. There's a little Corolla here. That's just a little old burnout car she picked up. You'll see a little bit of that in the channel coming up. This is her dad's old F100. This is running a 250 crossflow in it and an automatic. It's also got air conditioning, I think, as well. We've got a tub to put on that truck. It's a short wheelbase tub, so we'll be shortening the chassis and making that a style side truck. And also, we got a 302 Cleveland and C4 automatic out of a ZJ Fairlane to put in that as well. So that's another one that she wants to keep because that was her dad's car. So there's a couple of old cars that the kids had growing up, and there's nothing too exciting, so we won't bother there. But making our way down the back here, we're just going to walk past this car of sorts behind me. We're just going to ignore that for a minute. We're going to get back to that in a second, but we're going to go back down here to the Paddock of Death. We got some stuff down here. So behind me, you'll see a HZ or HX Holden. Can't remember which one it is. This was Andrea's stepfather's car. It was going to be restored, but it's too far gone now. So we're going to try and raid some parts off of this car to keep some other cars on the road, because obviously we all know that's important. These cars are super important nowadays. We can't throw anything away. We have to keep all these bits and pieces to keep other cars alive. That's the same with this UC. This UC Torana has been raided for her car. We've stolen a lot of good bits off this car. Andrea acquired it years ago when her first Torana got stolen, and so she bought this thing. It was defected in order to get her car back on the road, and we've been using a lot of bits off that. Now, moving over into the paddock here, we've got a few others hidden down the back. This is only going to be a super quick walk around, guys. We haven't got a lot of time today, but this is just a chance to show people what else is happening in the background. There's always a lot going on. Now, this is a family friend's car that was dropped off and left here many years ago. The old Jag. Really typical with the globes on it. That was cool. Typical upgrade for back in the day for the Jags was a 350 Chevy. This bad boy is running a 350 Chevy and air conditioning by the looks of it. I want to try and get this car if whoever owns it, because that could make an Australian version of the Jaguar. Very cool. I've got a couple of Commodores over in the back here. I don't know the history on these cars, so I can't tell you too much, but I do know that Amy, Andrea's sister, wants to get this one back on the road. It's got a little bit of rust, not a great deal, but it actually is a really super straight car. The early Commodores can look really nice, so that may be a project for a few years to come. Andrea bought this thing cheap from car sales. It actually looks pretty horrible because it's been sitting in the paddock and I actually got a bit of hail damage last month, but it's a pretty solid car. It's done 193,000. It's a factory 5 litre. The interior is super clean on it, and it was an old man that owned it. It just has the typical 90s paint fade. So we're going to respray this, and Andrea might cruise that around as a daily, because she can, and she likes V8. So as you can see inside, really clean. And as I said, it's a 5 litre, so that's it's got the V8 rumble. So we might do something with that soon. This XC we got about a year or so ago in order to pinch a lot of parts to put the other XC that she's building back together. There was a lot of trim bits that we needed, and we bought the whole car local for $500, and it was a better option to just buy the whole car than all the bits we needed. So that's how that one's come about. As little Snitzel follows me, no doubt, we're gonna head back down here and check out this Valiant and see what that's all about. Come on, Snitzel! Okay guys, so midway through the editing in this film, and it is doing my head in. The wind was annihilating the sound of this footage, and I was actually trying. I used this fluffy little windsock to try and reduce the sound on that day, but it just simply wasn't enough for this next section. So basically, the rundown on this next car is a VJ or VK wagon that Andrea bought off Marketplace. I can't even recall the figure, but it was pretty cheap. It's a factory V8, automatic, power steering, air conditioning, all the good stuff. And that is going to be used to put some running gear in the Plymouth Duster that is currently on its way from the States in Texas. I can't remember if I mentioned that on the channel before, or if I only mentioned it on Instagram, which is the Iron Empire on Instagram if you're not following. But yeah, basically the Duster is a complete car, all except for the running gear. So this car is going to be used to basically get that thing on the road once it arrives in the country. So very exciting. We did do some recording on the Wagon to get it fired up. So I'm going to scrounge through some footage from a couple of weeks ago and show you how that all went down now. So yeah, pretty much Andy picked this up sight unseen from like 4 hours mid-north of SA, and it was obviously used on a farm or out in the desert because it's like sand city in here, but basically it was ran when parked. And yeah, we just bought it off good face value. Actually paid $2.5 grand for the car. So it's got a 904 transmission in it, and yeah, a lot of goodies that we can raid from this to create a running, driving Plymouth Duster. It's gonna be sick. I'm gonna give this crap a bit of fuel down the carby. It's actually squirting as well, surprisingly, but we'll see how we go here. What's to fire? It's super easy. I reckon for some reason the ignition works when it starts turning over, but not when it stays on. So if we can get that rigged up like hot wire, it should run. All right, so we're going to call it quits on the car today. Reason being is that I've now lost spark. So I managed to rewire the ignition so it is actually turning on by the key now, but now I've lost spark and I don't have a test light here. So we're going to come and reassess with the test light in a couple of days, check all the wiring, and then try and fire it up. So I think it's going to go. We've got high hopes anyway. All right, so next day now, we had a little bit of time, so I'd have a quick suss. Spoke to a few Valiant mates and had a bit more guidance on what I've done here. By trying to hotwire it, I actually mucked up. I didn't realise this car was an electronic ignition, so I have probably ran 12 volts through the ballast resistor and or the ignition unit here. So if that's the case, I've burnt one of them. So I've now swapped over the ballast from Andrea's other wagon. We're going to try that first. Failing that, we're going to change the ignition unit and try that. We should get some spark eventually. So luckily we got some spare parts. Yeah, just go for it. Hang on a sec. I won't be lazy and just actually check the spark. Yeah, go for it. think it's actually the ignition unit. I'll put this one in now. All right, so now we just start it up and like pretend like everything's all sweet and nothing could go wrong. Crank it. Oh, just flick him in the face. Oh. That's a win. Are you happy your motor runs?
Yes.
Look at me.
Yes.
All right, so as you can see, we got that thing running and super happy with that. We got told run when parked, and yes, it does run. So that's gonna get parted out, and the part's gonna be very, very handy for keeping a lot of other Valiants on the road. Well, in this case, the Plymouth. And we're gonna go into the shed here. There's sheds everywhere here. To another Valiant wagon. You guys would have seen this on the channel years ago when I done a quick rundown on my install of electric power steering Astra. This is Andrea's CM Valiant Regal wagon, $1,000 build. Well, it was a $1,000 buy, and it basically got 265 thrown in it, an automatic that I already owned thrown in it, and we put this thing together on a budget. It was originally cream. It was painted in like house paint white. We buzzed it all back, gave it the patina look, slammed it, white walls, painted up rims, and as you can see, it's a pretty cool looking car, but it's requiring a tune. I need to fix up some of the exhaust, and then pretty much that's back on the road. It's got Club Rego. That's actually going to be coming up on the market soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Or if anyone is interested in a nice weekend cruiser to fit the whole family and the dog in the back, hit me up in the comments below. This is also another UC, so many UCs in this family. It all started with Andrea's blue one, which you would have seen on the channel. This one was also purchased in order to sort of make up for the one that got stolen at the time, which is now 11 years ago. But this is a really clean car. It doesn't get used, unfortunately. We're going to try and maybe get it out a little bit, but overall, super clean car, and yeah, another gem hidden in the sheds. All right, now moving into the front shed. Yes, there's more. We've got the ZL Fairlane here. This, I think, may have been on the channel super briefly, maybe a walk around video, but a little bit dusty at the moment, but overall super clean car. This is going to be going on the market soon as well, because that pretty much has to make room and fund some of the other cars, like the new Mustang that you guys have seen as well. That one's in here. We've got to get sorted on the diff, suss out why that's playing up. Engine's running sweet now. Got new carpet and a few little bits and pieces to make that nice, and get that all registered. And in the background here, we got yet another UC. This is Amy, Andrea's sister's car, and we got Ryan here today starting the body work. This thing is going to get a paint job before early next year, so we're going to start by buzzing this all down and doing a service and all that sort of stuff, and getting that resprayed in the factory aqua color that it is now. So that's it for this week. A very quick walk around update video on some stuff that you guys haven't seen, and as you can see, Andy is just as bad as me with plenty of cars, plenty of projects on the go, but plenty of good things to look forward to in the future. So if you haven't already, please leave me a comment. If you're interested in any of these cars that we're going to have up for sale soon, hit me up in an email, mark@theonempire.com.au. You can reach me at, and please check out the online store. I've got all express postage upgrades for anyone who purchases between now and Christmas. We got new t-shirts, we've got new hats, always bring out new merch, so please support the channel. It goes a long way. And like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you all on an upcoming episode of The Iron Empire. Cheers, guys.